Preseason week number 2 gets underway on Saturday night for San Francisco as they hit the road against the Minnesota Vikings. This game going to take place on Saturday night. We'll be doing a watch party for it right here on the 49ers Report, and that'll be the culmination of these two teams doing joint practices all throughout this week. So we'll get a good look at some of the backups for San Francisco because a lot of the starters will not play in this game because they'll be going up against the Vikings all throughout practice this week as they left for Minnesota on Monday night. Speaking of the Vikings, we do have a Vikings channel here at Chat Sports, and we want to continue to dominate them in terms of subscribers. It's a newer channel, yes, as compared to the Niners Report, but we want to take down the Vikings on the football field on Saturday and here at Chat Sports. So if you want to stay in the know with all things Niners, make sure you hit that red sub button down below, and let's give it to that sorry franchise in Minnesota. Some players to watch for on Saturday night, and guys who I'm excited to see against the Vikings, and then we'll get to some key positional battles. Want to start off here with Brock Purdy. Now, you look at the numbers with what he put up against the Packers, and you're like, Brock Purdy didn't really do much, only threw for 36 yards and 1 touchdown, but it's what Brock Purdy did in that game that really impressed me. I saw some nice movement in the pocket, especially on that touchdown. When the pocket broke down, he bought some time and then went to the right and fired that ball to Tanner Hudson. And then the 2-point conversion to former Niner Keyshawn Johnson, who was just released earlier this week, was really impressive too. With the throw to Tanner Hudson, making that throw with how quickly he was moving to his right, I thought was a really impressive toss. And then on that back corner ball for the 2-point conversion, you got to put that ball in a particular area. High for the big-bodied wide receiver to go up and get it, and that's what Brock Purdy was able to do, leading the charge on an 11-play, 69-yard scoring drive, which ended up being the game-winning touchdown for San Francisco. Brock was slinging the rock. Let's see if he's able to do that once again against Minnesota. Now, I did think this was somewhat interesting because during our post-game show, a lot of people were talking about Brock Purdy maybe unseating Nate Sudfeld as the team's backup quarterback behind Trey Lance. Who do you think should be QB2? Let me know right now. NS for Nate Sudfeld, BP for Brock Purdy, both expected to get a lot of action on Saturday night. Another player to watch out for, it's Danny Gray. Now, he's been dealing with an injury all throughout this week, little hip and back soreness, and not sure if he's going to be able to practice a lot against the Vikings, and maybe his playing time is going to be jeopardized going up against a Vikings team that does have a physical and improved defense. But if Gray is able to play, I'm looking forward to him building on the momentum of what we saw against the Green Bay Packers. He was targeted twice, or he was targeted a couple of times, 4 to be exact, caught 2 balls, including the big splash play, that 76-yard score, where he was able to beat the defense. He blew by the safety. Trey Lance put it right on him with a dime of a football as he dropped it in the bucket. Danny Gray tiptoed the sideline, and then you saw that breakaway speed. Ended the day with 2 catches for 99 yards on those 4 targets and that touchdown. Can he at least somewhat replicate what he did against the Packers? And if not, I'm looking for continued growth. And I want to see consistency from Danny Gray. It's great what you did in your first professional football game at the preseason level. Can you back it up, though, and do it again? And can you continue to display that 4.3 speed that wowed the Niners during the NFL Scouting Combine? Really looking forward to watching Danny Gray. And I think as of right now, this wide receiver 3 battle is to be determined. Jauan Jennings, going into camp, was the ideal guy to take that role, and I kind of like his size, 6'2", 6'3", operating out of the slot. Last year on the money downs, 3rd and 4th down, he was exceptional, but he's had a bad training camp. So that's opened up the door for Danny Gray. 76-yard score against the Packers. Ray McLoud, 39-yard score from Nate Sudfeld to maybe claim that spot. Who do you think wins it, though? Jauan Jennings, Danny Gray, or Ray McLoud? Get those votes in and let me know. Another player who kind of has some pressure on him, it's Trey Sermon. Got to start against the Packers and really didn't do a lot to impress a lot of people. I think that Sermon's roster spot is not guaranteed, even though he was a 3rd-round pick in the 2021 NFL Draft. The big problem for Trey Sermon, he looks the part. He does have some size. He is big and physical, but he doesn't play in a physical manner, and he just dances in the backfield and doesn't hit the hole immediately. And that's something that is very, very imperative for running backs in Kyle Shanahan's scheme. And that's why Elijah Mitchell played so well last year. He saw the hole, bang, he hit it. Raheem Mostert, Jeff Wilson, these types of players, they're able to quickly diagnose that hole, and that's how that ground game gets going. And if the Niners want to move on from Trey Sermon, it's not like they take a big financial hit, dead cap hit charge for Sermon of less than $700,000, and running backs are easy to find. They're plentiful. You can find quality ones in the mid to later rounds, like an Elijah Mitchell. And right now, I think that San Francisco is set. And could you go JaMycal Hasty over Trey Sermon? I don't think that's out of the realm of possibility if JaMycal Hasty outplays him. Now, if you're a real one of the 49ers report, I want you to type real one in the comment section, because the real one roll call has certainly been a real movement. And because it's been so real, we decided to, hey, make it into a t-shirt. Chatsports.com/real149. Shirts available for the faithful, the Niner gang, and the Niner Empire in red and black. And if you buy one of these shirts and you take a picture of you rocking it and you send it to me at Chase_Senior on Twitter and Instagram, those social media links in the description of this video, we'll get you featured on the show. We keep it in the backfield with Ty Davis-Price. Can't wait to watch him too, because if you look at the numbers of what he did against the Packers, they don't blow you away by any means, but TDP, with the physicality, the weight, and the size, the fact that he has that jump cut ability makes me really intrigued by this prospect. Now, 10 carries, 36 yards, average yards per carry at 3.5, long of 10. Won't wow you by any means, right? But he was also playing and running behind a pretty weak offensive line late in the game. I just want to see some of the athleticism. I want to see some of the traits from Ty Davis-Price. And I want to see some of the ability that we saw last year at LSU, and that's what TDP was able to prove in certain moments. Look at the film, watch what he was able to do, and you'll see that jump cut ability. At 210, 215 pounds, the fact that he can fake here and then cut it inside or vice versa really is impressive. And I think that this guy has the opportunity to earn a lot of carries in year one in this offense, and I'm looking forward to watching him on Saturday night against Minnesota. With that, as we're talking about some of the backs on this team, I want to put you to the test here. By the way, this is our live poll question on YouTube. Who will lead the Niners in rushing yards? On 430 votes, 79% going with Elijah Mitchell. Are you going to stick with that in the comments section or go with somebody else? Let me know right now. Position battles to watch for. There are a couple to keep your eyes peeled out for against the Vikings here on Saturday, because there are some good positional battles that could determine who makes the roster and who doesn't. There are some cornerbacks who are on the hot seat. I think the Niners are going to hold on to Ambry Thomas because he's a third-round pick and flashed ability last year. I think his roster spot is safe, but he certainly needs to play better to get consistent playing time during the regular season. Deommodore Lenoir has certainly been up and down throughout training camp. In preseason last year, displayed some flashes, played a lot in week 1 against the Lions a year ago. Then after that, really didn't see him much after that Eagles game in week 2. Tariq Castro-Fields is a guy out of Penn State who I really liked coming out of college because he's got 4.3 speed and really long arms, but just need to flat out see more from him. And then Kadar Holman was beaten coverage a couple of times for some big plays from Jordan Love. I don't think he's going to crack the roster. If he wants any chances of making this roster, he's going to have to play a lot better. So that's a positional battle that I'm looking forward to seeing. Also, the tight ends after George Kittle. This is really just an open platform here. We know that Kittle's going to make the team, but who's going to be tight end 2? Is it going to be Charlie Warner? Is it going to be Ross Dwelly? Those two guys have been with this organization for a bit, so we know what they can bring to the table. But Tyler Kroft, he's not a bad tight end, nor is Tanner Hudson. And I think that they have an opportunity to maybe crack this roster. Now, I do think that San Francisco will have probably 3 tight ends on the initial 53. So the battle for tight end 2 is on and popping. So too is the battle for tight end 3. Lastly, what happens at the other safety spot? Jimmy Ward is going to be out for a little while because of that significant hamstring strain that he suffered last Sunday in practice. So he's going to be out. In his shoes, going to be a combination of guys, I imagine, in Tarvarius Moore, George Odom, kind of going back and forth. But on the other side, for that other safety spot, is it going to be Talanoa Hufanga? And does the injury to Jimmy Ward kind of affect things to a certain degree? That something also to watch for on Saturday night. Offensive line questions across the board too. Spencer Burford expected to play a lot. Aaron Banks should play a lot. So too should Jalen Moore and players like that. You look at the Niners offensive line depth chart, a lot of these positions up for grabs in terms of that second string. I think the first string offensive line in a pretty good position because Daniel Brunskill's out with that hamstring injury. Jake Brendel, that's his job right now. Aaron Banks in 15 pass rush snaps against the Packers, didn't give up a pressure. Spencer Burford was pancaking cats even though he gave up a couple of pressures. Mike McGlinchey probably not going to play against the Vikings, so a big opportunity for Justin Skule to prove that he can be the backup right tackle after he was beat badly early in that game against the Packers. And then you look at other guys. I mean, you got Zakel, you got Colton McKivitz, Sam Schluter. Big opportunities for those guys to make an impression on this coaching staff. Before we get out of here, get your predictions in for Saturday night's game. Who wins it? Week 2 of the NFL preseason. Is it the Niners? Type SF. Is it the Vikings? MIN. Subscribe to the channel. Let's crush the Vikings on the football field and with subscribers.